Welcome to Modern Mythology, a podcast that explores the intersections of storytelling and system, providing a shared canvas for creativity and the collaborative discovery of new worlds.
All right, so Freemarket, your characters, let's just do a rundown of your characters real quick, who they are. Step number one, character creation. Who would you like to be? This is called a clade. This is basically a concept, just a couple words that describe you.
Tom, ruthless, power-hungry engineer.
Okay.
That was yours, right? And mine's impulsive con man. So I think we already know why you're kicked out of the larger group. Right there.
Ruthless and impulsive. All right, sounds good. What generation you are? We determined that you're brothers. You're the Moses brothers. And your second generation. That's actually going to produce a gene line rating of 2 for you. It's going to give you 5 points to put towards experiences. Give you 2 interface and 1 tech, which we'll look into later. Design your gene line. So first off, we know your gene line is a rating of 2. That'll come in later on. And then next is you get 3 tags. Now we decided, since you're sharing your gene line, first off, it should be the same name, right? The name of your gene line should be the same.
And that's Moses, yeah.
Probably, right? And then the second thing is we decided to share a tag. And you guys decided on quick.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you're each going to have your own tag. And keep in mind, if you ran into other people of your own gene line, they would also have the Moses name and probably share a similar tag or 2 of yours, either a quick or something else, right?
Right.
So what is Ari's gene line tag?
Ari is self-important and tenacious.
And quick, awesome. And what about Orion?
Mine are quick, prescient, and biofeedback.
Prescient and biofeedback. That's very cool.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what biofeedback is. I picked it, but
that's awesome. That's great. Okay, cool beans.
I know what it is in terms of real world, but I'm not sure what it is for the game.
All right. Number 4 is designate your experiences. We're not going to go through all of the experiences. And keep in mind that these experiences they're skills. They're
skills.
A little more, a little more setting oriented. If you need a reminder of what things are, let me know. But Ari, what is Ari's experiences? You have 5 points to allocate.
So some of the social skills, so negotiation and social engineering, and Ari has printing. I think there was the availability of a small printing device, which, hopefully you can get more substantial. And then thin slicing, which just sounds cool.
So I want to point out that negotiation also includes contracts. Developing contracts were very, very important. You actually get flow from carrying through with contracts. People like that. People like when they do shit that you say you're going to do. Social engineering often is geared towards surreptitiously getting people to say or do things that they wouldn't otherwise do. Thin slicing is used to determine the value or validity of information through reaction assessment or cool hunting. What this means is it's sort of like it's like a perception kind of deal, but it's gathering information. It's trying to get information both through the aggregate, asking the right questions, streetwise, so it's a little conglomerate of that sort of stuff, right?
I imagine it visually showing up as sort of like the map or the diagram sort of being split into sections.
Right,
and
you pull it apart.
Out,
yeah, wonderful. Awesome. Do you guys remember those, there'd be a way to demonstrate, body parts that get dissected where they would pull something out, I think there was a cartoon line like that too, where they'd show a bust and then whoop, and kids would just be in the middle of the air,
right, and they'll be there to teach you about
what's going on. That's awesome. Cool. Orion.
So we have a little bit of overlap because I have social engineering and negotiation. Negotiation I have 2 in. I'm pretty good at that, I guess, more relatively. And then the other 2 are ghosting and wet work.
Awesome. We're not going to do group challenges today because they're a little more complex. I think they're really good and really powerful, but they're a little more complex. So we're just going to stick to one-on-one kind of stuff.
Sure.
We'll talk about that later on. All right, nice. So next is build your interface. So you guys have an interface of 2. That means you could have 2 interfaces at 1 or 1 interface at 2. We'll start with Orion this time. Orion, what are your interfaces?
Rainstorm Keysoft.
Okay.
And the Culture Soft.
And what's your tags and your Rainstorm?
Yeah. Social engineering, flash mob, and tracking.
Flash mob. That's interesting. Yeah. And tracking. Huh. And social engineering by tracking and flash mob.
Those were on the list, yeah.
That's very interesting. So I have to think about
I guess manipulating groups through the
how to integrate, how to get flash mobs. That's
well,
wild.
It's interesting too because flash mobs got it could just be a group of people dancing.
Yeah,
so you just spontaneously have a whole bunch of people dance. But it's also a group of people fighting. Right. So,
right. Yeah, that's interesting. Or those scenes where people are coming out of the woodwork and doing things. What was it I just saw recently? Was a movie where they were bringing. Oh, it was Focus. A little back in the day, Will Smith was running a con ring, and at first you really just see 1 or 2 people, but then as they're running cons, people are just coming out of the woodwork. They're just so it'd be really funny to have this. You've coerced this group to coordinate,
right, to do this thing
in various ways. That's right.
And that one's off of social engineering. Yeah,
that's interesting.
And the Culture Soft is off of negotiation, and it's a brain chip and hypnotic.
And what is the skill? What's the
negotiation?
Negotiation with brain chip and hypnotic.
Yeah.
All right, I love it.
Goes along with being a con man.
And point out that Keysofts, what they are they part of the aggregate chip that's in you that connects you to the whole station?
Everyone's got one, basically.
Everyone's got one. This is just an augmentation to your chip. Mm-hmm. Your Keysoft is ostensibly, if you think of it as an app in your Keysoft.
Sure.
Ari.
So Ari's got an optic branded Visi. So Visi optic.
Visi optic, fun.
And that's 1 on that, right? Is that start?
If you have 2, yes.
Well, I've got 2.
Yep.
So the tags for the Visi optic, imagine, a heads-up display for thin slicing, communication, and augmented reality.
And augmented reality. That's awesome. That's very interesting. That one's
real straightforward.
It's very straightforward.
And the second one is an obelisk Keysoft. So obelisk.
So it's called obelisk.
Just obelisk.
Fun.
And that one's tags for social engineering, diplomatic, and persuasive.
All right.
And a Keysoft, I think that we're going to have to get creative in terms of what that is.
No, we just mentioned it. It's part. Just think of it an app in part of your aggregate key. So your key is the thing that ties you to the station. So the Keysoft is just an addition to the chip that the aggregate keeps track of everything.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
If you imagine your iPhone or your phone in your head, right? Because that's what the key is, then it's just an app. It's just a thing that you created or you bought or whatever the case is.
Yeah. But how it influences others.
How it influences others is going to be. But it's really just an algorithm, right? We'll see what that looks like. You're right. We'll see what that looks like. Cool. All right. So those are your interfaces.
Mm-hmm.
Next is your tech. Works the exact same way, only now you only have 1 of them, right? Your old heads, you don't get a lot of tech on the station. You get 1 piece at a rating 1. Orion, what's your tech?
Roach bots, which are basically spy drones, basically. Okay. It's off of ghosting. And swarm bots and insectile are the other tags.
Insectile, which is fun, and swarm bot?
Yep.
And what's the skill?
Ghosting.
Ghosting. That's interesting. So they confuse the aggregate in terms of where you are, huh?
Ari's is tagged off in negotiation, so this is a contract he has for auto transportation. And in addition to negotiation, it's also safety, which is first.
Right.
And privacy.
Oh, that's fun.
Which is what makes it kind of a space.
Right. That you guys can be like, hold on. Like, you're just meeting on a street corner and a person walks up to you, just, hold on.
Yeah. Automated limo full.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, join a Mercy. What did you guys decide your Mercy's name was going to be?
Part of the sea.
Part of the sea.
Oh, no, part the sea.
Part the sea, right. That's awesome.
The letter C.
Right, for Moses. That's awesome. Part the sea. Awesome. Cool bean. What is your Mercy's purpose?
Freedom for Freemarket.
Freedom for Freemarket.
It's gotta ostensibly sound good. Freedom is, is...
Right. But really, you're
an anarchist self, too.
Right. Totally in line.
We run a cab service.
But part of your bigger picture is understanding that you want to change the rules, right? To allow people, the only rule is if you leave, you can't come back. And you want to change the only rule, one rule, and you guys want to change it. You guys came on here.
It's a totalitarian, oppressive regime.
All right, cool. What are your Mercy's tags?
Well, I mean, just in terms of the wanting to leave and come back, when we get into memories, but one of the things that we shared was, and just us being brothers, but also the idea that our mother disappeared.
Right.
And we don't know the full details of it other than bits and pieces from the memories, but
you were raised,
and Orion might not have any of it at all, but my thought is, or Ari's thought is that she wasn't able to come back.
Right. Like, it's sort of like the animal that goes to the farm. Right? Your parents tell you, right? Went to the farm.
Yeah. It may not be a reality at all.
Right. You get a sense, and that's, she went off station. She can't come back. Right?
Exactly.
Although here, like, if people die, they get reprinted. So it does seem odd that she hasn't come back.
Right. Oh boy, there's some really interesting, horrific ideas. And I will tell you, this game, I would love to run a campaign of this game because there's really some really deep, interesting stuff you could do. But think about that in context of the series You. It's basically about a dude who locks people in basements.
All right. Yeah.
All right. What does your Mercy need?
And our needs are cultivation, which is more of a grassroots kind of.
Right. You don't have any means to grow
or low tech, needing, needs, cultivating farming, collaboration and ship.
And a ship. Right. I love those.
Not a boat, but a ship.
Right.
But it will be important to note that our Mercy's motto under notes here is die free or live.
What's that?
Our motto is die free or live.
Right.
Especially since you're printing.
Right.
So you stay here. Right. You're just going to live.
You're just going to live here. Right. Freedom in printing. That's awesome. Your key ideas, your name, your Ari Moses and Orion Moses, right? Fantastic. And that's it. Let's go with memories. We didn't.
All right.
We didn't cover memories. So you get 2 short-term memories and 1 long-term memory, right?
Well, starting with Ari and the long-term memory, since we already hinted at it.
Yep.
Ari has, all of our memories are a little bit digitally jittery, right? To some extent. This is our father saying, or I remember our father saying to my brother Orion, "Don't worry, she won't be back."
Right. There you go. Don't worry, she won't be back.
Right. Yeah. And mine was a memory of my parents killing me, teach me a lesson when I tried to social engineer my way onto a ship called the Echo of Titan to try to go off and try to find my mother. I guess my father killed me, not my mother.
Great parents.
Yeah. I mean, he knew I was going to be reprinted, obviously. It's still pretty harsh.
It's still pretty All right, and your short-term
memory. You want to lose this.
Really wanted his son to stay with him.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not how I read it.
But my short-term memory was dead secretary, like a government secretary,
Right.
cabinet member, found in my tub in my house,
Right.
dead. Secretary's name was Max Stubson.
And we also decided that your parents were part of a mercy that ostensibly were the administrators to the water department.
Water, sewage, sort
right.
of the tubes.
The tubes. Sounds good. Awesome.
Yeah.
And they're very important. They have their own mercy. It's very influential. And again, we're starting to see why the two of you are not part of it. What was your other short-term memory, Ari?
Almost struck by an auto.
Oh, right.
That ran over your foot,
the vehicle. Right? Yeah, this just happened, and it ran over my foot.
Right. Yeah. So one of my short-term memories is related to that. I took a date in one of our auto cabs, and to show off, I turned the safeties off, and it kind of ran over your foot.
I don't know that.
Yeah.
You don't know that. Right. That just happened yesterday, right? Yeah. And what was your other short-term memory?
The other one was not interesting. The food at the restaurant was substandard.
Sounds good.
On the date, yeah.
Awesome. All right. So
You can find yourself in that restaurant. Okay.
Yeah. Screw that place.
I would be remiss to not mention that a lot of these games, I push harder at the structure of these games than often even the designers. So I want to give that as a caveat. It's true for Torchbearer, it's true for Burning Wheel, and it's very likely true for this, that you could just pursue your character's goals and play a relatively traditional RPG in a very untraditional setting and rule set. However, in standard Scott fashion, I like to lean into that structure, right? And so what I'm going to ask the two of you to do for our session this evening is to come up with 2 scenes, okay? I had considered writing something for this, but I don't think that's in the spirit of Freemarket. I think it's really about you. However, to give you a little guidance, we have some ideas of some people, the secretary of the water department.
And it's interesting, and the fact that you were covering a body. Ari was a little concerned about the location because he could figure out why this person would be in his tub.
Right.
He just didn't have any right.
That was more of a thing than it being a
But
body.
then, when it came to be that you were faced with it, it's kind of like, well, he was printed, so that didn't really matter. The body was just kind of inconsequential.
Right, but somebody killed him,
Right.
right? And you guys decided that you wanted to somehow hide the body, because what if the secretary, how much flow would you lose if the secretary of the water department found out that you murdered that you wedded, decked him. I'm sorry, that's how it's written. That you decked him. He'd have some questions. However, you guys
But we would be in
failed.
trouble from a sense we didn't murder anybody.
Well,
Right?
you deathed him. That's why it's called deathing and not murder, right? Yes, he was reprinted, but he's going to be like, humph, because it's still bad form.
Yeah.
Right? You still don't, just, unless you're expecting it, right? Unless you're like, I'm going to go into one of the station's many death arenas, and then you're like, all right, I'm going to get reprinted.
we didn't kill him, so there's that.
But did you? Yes,
that we remember.
That you remember, right? Like you said, memories are a little wonky on the station. There's literally an entire experience that is based on playing with people's memories.
Mm-hmm.
So what I want you to do is each come up with 2 scenes, right? And I want those scenes to do 2 things. The first is it should drive forward the goal of your mercy. Now, you guys have a big highfalutin mercy. We're not, you guys are not, you don't have enough flow to change the aggregates rules.
No.
Right? So, but you have to sort of
That's
think,
more our long-term goal.
what's your first step in this goal? kind of ideas. The first thing you should think about. Second thing you could think about is you have several mysteries in front of you. You could definitely go with, I want to solve this mystery, with the idea that at this stage, it's hard to go towards our big goal, and instead we will need to gain flow. How do we gain flow? We do the things that we're good at, right? Thin slicing, social engineering, negotiation, blah, blah, blah. You lean into those things to take baby steps to gain more flow, right? And build your mercy to get to a point where you can start challenging the aggregate. Remember that the minimum flow requirement to challenge the aggregate is 50.
Right.
You guys are at 13, right? All right.
Yeah.
The second, so I want you
to get a message out.
I'm trying to think.
We got to get people recruited to it.
Right. So your first thing is either align it to a big long-term goal or align it to a short-term goal, right? And the second thing I want you to think about is I want you to think about the game's implicit reward system, which is if you do things in the game, it changes your character, right? So if you successfully lean on experiences, those experiences go up. If you successfully do things like, hey, I'm going to grow a new organ, right? But we don't have cultivation. It's something we need. How are we going to get cultivation? Well, we're going to talk to somebody we know is good at cultivation and growing organs. We're going to go talk to them. They're going to grow this special organ for us. And then we're going to get somebody to mob and install that organ. And after all of this stuff, at the end, the super user decides, all right, your G line goes up, or you get a new tag, or something to that effect, or maybe we call it an interface, but it's probably much more likely a new tag. Yeah. Could be a new interface. Like how is that going to happen, right? So experiences, you just lean into those experiences. You can't have higher than 3, right? Mm-hmm. And gene line and interface and tech, you just do the things that give you more tech. That how would you go about that?
I'm trying to think of the setting, how we go about, like, for instance, growing our mercy.
You can't really grow your mercy yet, because growing your mercy, a lot like
blades,
thank you. Woo. A lot like Blades in the Dark, it becomes like a mercy versus mercy flow challenge. You guys really aren't there yet. So yes, that could be like a tertiary thing towards your big picture, right? What were you to say?
So talking to my brother, I have this idea. Right. I mean, it's just the two of us in this mercy because of our dad's mercy. Mm-hmm. And, obviously we need to get the people to come to our side. But and I had a question for you. Were the new memories that we're putting in related to these two things that we're talking about? You said it should tie to a long-term and a short-term memory. Yeah. It's going to be new short-term and long-term.
No, your current ones.
Oh, okay. I mean,
at the end of the session, we'll go through the process of creating a short-term memory and putting a short-term memory into long-term.
Okay. All right. I think that helps expand that a little bit, because otherwise it's just broadly our mercies related to this lofty goal that we have, in general. But, for us, it's the branding. Like at this point, we need to put out there a message, right, that just gets people talking about us. Okay. It doesn't matter what they think it is or not. We just need to come up with an emblem, right, with Saturn, live free, die hard, and put that out on the nets.
Right.
So here's my 2 goals, right? Okay. 1.
And I want to remind, but real quick, I want to remind you guys that you get flow for getting new friends.
Yeah.
And you get flow for gifting. You get 10 flow for gifting things. So
I'm going to have to think of something to put on this that would also be considered a gift.
Well, you could put your new logo on the gift, right?
Yeah, but it's not going to be a physical gift. This is a digital gift.
Sure,
Okay?
sure.
This is going out digitally. It's got to go mass, to the masses. But that's not necessarily easy to do.
Right.
I can't just get on any terminal, I imagine. So the first thing is I know that there is a hand, mechanical hand that I could get that would help me just, it's got the right tool set to jack in that would give me the command control to be able to send this message out broadly once we figure out exactly the content that's in it. So that's the first thing, is to get this interface.
Acquire that interface.
Acquire this interface.
Interesting.
But this is specifically an interface that I would adapt to myself.
Would you put your hand up?
That I would have to.
That's awesome.
In order to utilize it to get to the second thing, a particular location that I would have to override in order to send out the message and the gift that we want specifically.
Sure. Awesome.
Okay.
Yep.
And so those are both sort of locations that we have to get to. There's a guy who has the hand. You got to get this from any means necessary.
Yep.
And then the other one's just an otherwise protected place that they wouldn't just let somebody walk up to.
So it acquires a certain right. It allows you to basically, you could conceivably convert flow to data or something to that effect. You're ostensibly trying to deliver data.
Yeah.
And I want to remind you that in this world of social media, that's like social media turned up to 12, right? That one of the perfect ways to get it out there is gatekeepers, right? Is to make friends with somebody of a mercy higher than yours. And remember, a lot of these people are more than willing to help other people because they get flow, right? You don't get flow for receiving gifts. You get flow for giving gifts,
right.
So there becomes this weird jockeying of who
weird to think about the gifts in a society where all your basic
needs are covered,
right?
Yeah,
but in this case, it could be you asking somebody, "Hey, could you please proliferate this for me?" Hey, we're part of maybe there's a mercy that manages, use thin slicing to find a mercy that manages the array that is sending data out, and be like, can we hijack some of that signal? Right. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's a big, lofty thing, but just as an example.
Yeah.
Cool. So what are your two things?
Good question. Because I'm still trying to figure out in the setting kind of like what I would give to someone, like you said, like I kind of like what would I give someone where they already have everything, and I don't know, who they are yet, right?
Well, I'd like you to think about two things. I'd like you to think about cultivation and the idea that it's something your mercy needs, right? But then that means there are other mercies that might need social interaction, right? You could conceivably create if you find somebody, maybe through thin slicing or whatever the case is, if you find somebody or get someone to reveal through social engineering this information, where you could then set up a contract with this mercy to trade, right? We'll help you create a contract with someone else, and in turn, you give us something, right? You help us with cultivation.
Remember, we're giving a brand without a product. I mean, this is really about the buzz. Like, to some extent, when people see this, I want them to ask what it is that they're going to get out of this. Okay, so to some extent, they can't find it to be fabricated on the other side, but this could just be a means for us to get the people that we need together.
Right.
Like, we need additional technology, we need ships. So whoever receives this, we want them to be thinking that, we'll, to your point, we'll be able to put contracts together for people that need to otherwise work in a location, like a festival of like-minded people getting together, but just give them a whiff of what that could possibly be. Not like,
so throw a party.
Not give. It's like Fire Island, but we either got to make it work or.
I also want to point out They're there for this reason. By all means, tie it into your, like, you need your mercy needs cultivation, right? Maybe somebody can teach you cultivation or whatever the case is. Maybe I don't know why you put cultivation down. Maybe you had a reason, but part of that in using it is to say, well, maybe the reason the food at the restaurant was substandard was because they were only dealing with printed vegetables. Maybe you could get somebody to print.
Yeah, the reason for cultivation is because to some extent the world out there
right
is the frontier.
Right.
Right. So if you're willing to leave this,
right.
Now you want to be able to come back because you want to be able to enjoy the technology and the things.
Just remember that.
Remember, the opposite of that is there was an opposite of cultivation. Breaking was breaking technology. Right. It was more technology. Like cultivation was more like bio, right?
Yeah,
so
it's growing and
right, and so those are if you get out there and you're separated from the printers that give you your food on a daily basis, you have to be able to appreciate growing.
Right. There you go.
And that doesn't look like creating a farm. That looks like creating a ribbon in space that has mirrors that reflects or whatever that
or it does, or you need a farm ship, or the other thing you have is the ship, like the original ship. What was it called? The Echo of
Titan.
The Echo of Titan. You have this crew that you know of. You attempted to get onto the Echo of Titan before.
Yeah, I was.
Remember that they're like an extra station, like an extra colonial, like they run supply lines.
I have no memory of this.
Yeah,
vague memories. Yeah, it's the ship that I tried to sneak myself onto, and my dad killed me.
Oh, okay. The same ship.
Right. Okay. And so they're not station citizens. They just ferry supplies to the station.
Right.
So they stop someplace and make an exchange.
Oh, well, they would be interesting because they are.
Right. Because they're not allowed to come here though. They're not here.
Yeah.
Right. They probably only deal with drones and stuff like that.
So, I mean, was the end of that chain of things that we should throw a party?
The current, because there were parties that involved all kinds of different, very, very odd, as you can imagine, things that you're just indulging in, any kind of indulgence. But so to some extent, people that are interested in cultivation or in getting contracts in order to further their own goals, right? So this is a B2B principle.
We're trying to get to someone who knows how to farm. If I wasn't Peter,
but it's going to be a party. You know what I mean? Like it's not going to be a conference. This is like, you're going to have everybody come to a particular location. But who those are, or maybe just getting one or two other mercies that are, influential in this space or, knowledgeable and like, how do you put party together?
Get them to,
I hope that they have stage or sound equipment.
To gift you.
We don't know shit about that.
Right.
And when the equipment ends up to not be sufficient, I'm just talking.
Yeah, no, it's too much. This is a weird hard time with this.
Don't get too wrapped up in the idea of where everybody gets what they want. Everybody doesn't get what they want. They just get their basic needs met. They still have to pursue things like you guys do, right? You can't just be like, I want to leave and come back. You can't. That's,
Sure.
I want to death people without consequence. You can't,
Yeah. And think about the type of craft and art, and stuff that would be somebody's driving force when otherwise they don't have to.
You are con men.
Serve food.
Right. You are con men. There are people who are musicians. There are people who are farmers. There are people who are sex workers.
Yeah. One thought I had was we have these cars. We kind of have an opportunity to broadcast information to people who are riding in our cabs, the equivalent of what those screens are, but that's not like gifting something. That's kind of where I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, the gifting. And
that's where I have a hard time. That's what I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around, because I don't know who I'm giving a gift to, what they want. It's like I need the situation to know what I'm going to give them.
At this point, the gift is an invite.
Yeah, I mean, is that
So
come to our party?
it could be. Yeah. I mean, especially if there's buzz about what it is. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, that would be interesting to be like, all right, we're gonna orchestrate a party. We're gonna proliferate the invite, but we don't get the flow unless the party gets off.
Right.
Right. So it's like we're gifting them the invitation, but that doesn't turn out unless people show up and, and it goes off well.
That makes sense. And we could use
they're also not charging tickets, presumably.
Right.
No one charges shit.
Right. The current, at some extent, the currency.
Yeah, I got that. But that's one thing with the setting that, like I get the social gifting and stuff. I definitely get it. I think it's a cool concept. But it's kind of like sometimes you're trying situations, it's like in DS9, where it's like the kind of overlap of like Quark's bar, people going around like in the like essentially the mall, there to like buy things. But it's like, no, they don't use money, but they're still paying rent to him. It's that sort of like.
Well, I remember that they have a strongly capitalist piece, and there is a little bit of that in Data here, right? Remember that Data is the gold press latinum, right, of the station.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I remember you saying that.
That if you acquire various pieces of important information and use thin slicing to understand its context, then you can find a party that would give you flow for gifting that to them.
For that information.
Yeah. Okay.
This game is hard. And I'll tell you why this game is hard is because it's so open-ended in the approach that you can take.
Right.
That you have to make certain, like you're saying, what's the interesting piece here, right? Because it's so easy to just be like, I want to get a sword, I want to stab somebody. Like, it could be pretty trite.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, go with something, but
trying to understand where the context is in this framework is what we're kind of looking for, And I think you guys, I love the idea that you guys are sitting there and like unconsciously so, and again, likely why you were kicked out of your father's mercy, because like there's one fucking rule and you guys have to change it. Like you're like, second geners are just so entitled,
One thing that
and you can literally print whatever you want. Like
you can have whatever the fuck you want. You're like, we want the thing we can't have. I want my mother back.
I'm going to go to the cold embrace of space where there's nothing there. We're not allowed to do
Which is great because some of these obstacles are going to be like, I could just grow you your mom's body back if you like. Like, there's other ways to go. Wait, hold on. Is there a backup? Did she actually leave? If there's a backup, it means she didn't leave.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Right.
That kind of stuff like that.
Sure.
Oh, is there a backup on the array? Is there like, where is she? There's so many ways to go.
Yeah. So let's go with doing like the invites. We can promote it. Like I said, we can promote it partially on our cabs. But
what information, like anarcho information, can we give out to like if you think like a hacker is going to gift to everybody else to be like, do this.
Yeah.
Potentially damaging thing.
It's funny, like trying to come up with the subversive media on like in the utopia. What would capture people's like thing? It's like the sense I get is that people are generally like happy, or at least they pretend to be generally happy and stuff. So it is like going on to like the Starship Enterprise and like the sunny, happy version of Star Trek, and being like, this place sucks. Like,
or it's like Loki's whole thing, right? Like you yearn to be subservient. Like, you know what I mean? You have too much choice.
I mean, it could actually play into boredom. Like if, people are like so bored of like even going to parties and like dying at the party because that's the fun thing to do.
Yeah.
Like, aren't you bored of this life? Like, come join us in the frontier life, kind of thing.
You got to ease them into it.
I want to point out also that like this game, I think, is most interesting for me, most interesting on a meta level. Remember that you're determining these things. The challenge deck determines how successful your narrative is. Yeah. Maybe you find a bunch of people who are really bored. Maybe you find this cache of individuals. I don't know if you guys saw, not What We Do in Shadows, the pirate one.
Oh, yeah. Our Flag Means Death.
Yes, Our Flag Means Death, where they find the ship of French partiers, you know, and like just high society French partiers on some big fucking galleon, you know, and maybe they're just bored to tears and just want something exciting to do. You know, they could be a mercy if people are just murdering each other just to see if there's more interesting ways to death each other, you know.
What about the image that we're putting out, or how do we get the image that we're putting out to be that? I mean, we could say that, but you know, between the two of us, but maybe we need to find somebody, you know, or something that can generate an image that we know will be eye-catching. Because we got the concept of, you know, we're trying to...
It's die free or live, right?
It's die free or live with the planet Saturn.
That's
so
awesome.
We're portraying out there, right? And then something about a frontier.
Okay.
But it's just a hint at it to get people to come to whatever it is putting together. We don't even have to know until they get there. And hope it's ready at that point. But yeah, maybe the first step is to get that, you know, because I'm thinking like, if you take your TikTok, Instagram, whatever that is, right? And just imagine, we always see the same commercials all the time. Imagine if you could hijack that, right? And like every third or fourth or fifth thing that everybody's flipping to, it has what you want them to see.
Right.
That's what we're doing.
All right. So what's the first thing you want to do? What's the first thing you need to, are you capable of, through social engineering, developing the symbol that's going to be catchy, or do you
I don't
feel
want to hijack
like
one of your things, I'm just saying.
No, I mean, we could either try to social engineer ourselves or try to like find someone who's like, you know, who we think has the right attitude to do it. I mean, but I do have social engineering, so I could just, you know, develop it myself, right?
Now, who are you trying to... Because remember, if you start engaging with the aggregate, right, then your flow challenge is 50, right?
No, that's not.
We're not doing it now.
Right.
Yeah.
So how do you want to, what are you doing? Just explain, narrate. This is a time like we pull back.
Yeah.
We go, okay. When you know, you hit the pavement, you go about your daily business. You have this conversation about like...
Go back to our boxcar of an apartment that we share with...
How do we get the word out, right? Mm-hmm. Who wants to take the first step?
Get the interface. Can't do anything about that.
Right.
Sure. So we do one or the other.
So your first step, you want to get the hand.
Yeah.
Right?
Otherwise, we're not going to be able to do the things we want to do. Then we're just going to have to rely on the rules,
right?
And of the algorithm.
When did you first learn about the hand?
That's the thing is I know that there's somebody who has one.
Oh, okay.
And uses it.
Oh, so it's his hand or their hand.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So you're telling me that like you knew someone, like you're telling me about this particular person, like we got to take his hand.
I guess we'll find out.
Chances are.
We'll find out. Okay. Sounds good. I love this idea. All right. So do you know where they are?
They work in a bar restaurant.
Oh,
is it the shitty restaurant?
Yes, the shitty restaurant.
I went to a date for it. Yeah, great.
Okay, so an imagery that I like to use, and Jamie's seen it a couple of times, is one of those. What are they called? The mats. They have a wall of windows where you order something. You know, and it prints it out. Oh, yeah. You know, and then you open the little door and you get it. You know, I think that this is the brainchild of an individual by the name of Ignatius. And Ignatius, their claim to fame, or what they're trying to produce here, is to produce like your perfect food. They're trying to glean. You're not even supposed to order anything. You just pick a box and you open that box and eat whatever's there, and it's exactly what you wanted, which makes the idea
that's the theory,
that you're like, the food was bad, right? And Ignatius is using, Ignatius is sort of like a Wizard of Oz sort of fashion, like the person behind is actually using a interface,
the interface
to gather information to thin slice and gather information about people when they come in, and then use an algorithm to make that perfect food, right? But your brother is good at ghosting. Right. So there's
that, and the food sucks, and it's a waste of this.
No, but I mean that's why his food sucked. Was because there's gaps in the algorithm.
Didn't have the right information.
Right. So it had to guess. Right. We know what happens when AI has to guess. Right. It hallucinates.
Yeah. Much more often.
And it hallucinated bangers and mash for you, and you're like, wow. This is mid, right? But Ignatius has the hand.
Yeah, and he's wasting it on, serving lousy food. So he doesn't deserve it.
His dream.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
Putting it to much better use.
So, you go to the Imagimat, and the Imagimat is this restaurant. It's a large triangle on a busy area. It's several stories tall, much like Hong Kong, right? Where you have lines that go from building to building, lots of signage. This is an area of like entrepreneurs that build their dream businesses. And it is some crazy whacked out shit. Like even in free market standards, this is where people try to like sell you printed cats and stuff like that. All sorts of crazy stuff that people are
gizmos,
right? Basically trying to gift you, right? Although, this area is called the Monkey's Paw. And it's called that for a reason, because the gifts here often have unintended consequences. So people know you really need something in order to come here and get something. Right. You have to have a reason why you're willing to take something from these proprietors. And Ignatius, it's one of those buildings. It's a tall building, and each floor or two does different things, right? And he has the ground floor. It's very Boulevard of Broken Dreams-esque, where it's two very large windows. He spent a lot of flow getting those windows, and then there's this almost magical, almost sort of mesmerizing wall of little doors, right? And they're all uniform, and it's purported to say that this wall has almost prophetic, like looking into these little cubicles sort of tells you something about yourself, If you were, and there's a door in the middle, right?
The customers come in.
That customers come out of, and when you open a door, the little bell goes off, ding, 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 and you walk in. There's probably 4 or 5 people here. 4 of them are peering intently in some of the windows, and one person opens up, and it's like. Just stands there,
I roll my eyes.
Just taking it in, the smell, the taste. They spit it back out onto the plate and then just to re-eat it.
I got go from rolling my eyes, just kind of like, what is
and they have a little antenna, like little actual like car antenna, right? That are sort of like at this stage kind of going up and down off of their skull. And you have two other people who like rush in and sort of like jostle you guys with these same antenna. Right. And they're basically like in a deep, like Italian conversation, but they're not speaking. They're clearly just communicating through these antenna. And then one person's like, and like goes over and opens something and like has a very similar.
Certainly must have figured something out.
Right. Similar experience. And there's other people who are just agonizing and looking and like,
I'm like, see if this guy can get these people this crazy about them making food. Like, we can obviously make these people
do a lot.
Yeah, we can obviously make these people crazy about something.
What do you you have not been here before? Clearly, your brother has.
But I'm thinking he's on the other side. He's got these little doors, and we're trying to get his in, presumably, if he's using it. So,
do you look in any of them?
Well, I'm looking at them, or I'm looking at how they're, how they're operating, I guess, as the other people are.
Yeah.
And thinking, okay, what is Iggy doing back there, and how do I get him to stick his hands through?
We're doing it that way.
One of the doors.
It's like, do we negotiate with him? But okay.
Well,
I think
how do we do that? Right. I mean, I think to some extent, maybe we're just trying to see them.
Could we borrow your hands for a little while?
Right. Yeah. So this sounds like probably a social engineering role, and that or test challenge where you're trying to get him to present his hand at some level. Right. All right. Awesome. That's what's going on. Who wants to? This is your scene, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're getting the hand.
Yeah. We're getting the hand, or at least getting him to present the hand. Getting the hand might be a different thing, but we're getting him to present the hand. Fantastic. So first thing we're going to do is you're just going to draw two cards. 1, 2, right in front of you.
Hazard. Freemarket.
And I also got a hazard and a free market. So what we're going to do is we're just...
Are you Iggy?
Huh?
Are you Iggy?
I'm the super user. So what we're doing is we're using these successes to kind of narrate what is going on, right? And the hazard is kind of going away from me. I could technically use sort of an interface to some degree. I can use the hand where I can get a bug, right? And that to replace the hazard card, right? Which is an action, right? I can't do it yet, right? And I think that, my free market card is just starting out by saying, we don't see him yet, right? We don't see Ignatius yet. You can't see him through there's no through, like there's images and objects, flashbacks, right? Little vignettes going on in each of these things, and you don't see him. What do you want your free market card to sort of, to remember?
I'm thinking, well, there's some customers here, right? So I think I can get the customers to do, or I can get the information that I need from the customers interacting with these things.
Right.
So I can get a sense of, again, what components are there that are integral to this whole thing, the whole process.
Sure.
You said like the images, like how those images, like how's the mechanism work? Again, is there a way that that he's back there that I could get him to just reveal part of his body?
Right.
If not.
So I think just the idea, we've already established there's customers, right?
Yeah.
You could say maybe with your free market, like maybe one of the doors breaks.
Yeah.
That like somebody's pulling on it, right? And trying to get it open, right?
Yeah.
Just to see if that goads him out.
Yeah, it's perfect because I was needing the repair.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now, this puts us both in a precarious situation because neither of us have a gene line or an experience card showing. So you have to kind of guess. Do you want to lean on the Moses name? Do you want to lean on your gene line? What's your tags again? Quick.
Self-important, tenacious.
Self-important, tenacious. Is there something in there you want to lean on, or do you want to lean on your experience of social engineering or thin slicing? Social engineering is getting him to give you.
Do I have to call social engineering or thin slicing?
Yes.
At this point?
Yep. If you choose experience. Yep.
All right. I think this is thin slicing.
Thin slicing. So you're trying to get information about how this is doable, right? Sounds good. That's good.
You do have higher in social.
That's good.
Yeah, I know, but I that might come.
Now, what you're trying to accomplish is you're trying to get information. So the super user may set the flow cost up to the user's current flow. Okay. So you're sort of going against your own intuition. You know, you have an idea of how this works, but that's going to kind of work for or against you. Target uses, in order to use thin slicing, you must see past your own biases. I'm going to say you're working with a very limited amount of information. You know that Iggy is sort of, you know, the man behind the curtain. You see that going on, but I think you might overestimate how
done, as it were.
Yeah, yes, exactly, right. This could be just a matter of, you're probably overestimating the function of the hand, that there might be other stuff going on, right? So I'm going to say your flow cost is 5. Okay? Yeah, so effect.
Sorry.
Pick one. Increase the value of a piece of data. You don't have data yet. Read one tag from a gene line, piece of tech or interface, or cause a seemingly useless concept to be casually adopted by one small group of mercy. So you, as a meta, you get to sort of say, if you win this challenge, how he does things, right? Where I'm saying how he's not doing things and how he's protecting his business, right? That kind of deal.
Right.
All right, cool. So you want to use thin slicing. So now your thin slicing is 2?
1.
Oh, your thin slicing is 1. So you can only go for it once in this challenge.
Right.
Okay. I'm going to use gene line. I'm going to say Iggy's gene line is a rating 2, just like yours. And his, one of his tags is more man than machine. I mean, more machine than man, kind of idea.
Right.
All right. So we draw 2 more cards. You get, I'm sorry. You take an action. The only action that really makes sense right now is go for it.
Yeah.
You could do support and call on your gene line also by saying you're tenacious, but that doesn't really fit within the narrative that we're talking about.
Right.
So I think we probably just go for it. We're both of us. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right. So we both just draw 2.
I'm more worried about what happens after the next one. Oh, look at that. Gene line. Wounds. Experience.
Okay. So.
Oh.
I'm going to say watching these doors open and close, you do actually learn something. But what you learn is that this building might be more connected. Like the hand exists, absolutely, but the building is maybe more connected to Iggy than you would otherwise assume, that you see Iggy's presence. And what you're looking for in these little windows, you actually see him, but your impression of him is like all this machinery and stuff going on in the background. There's multiple hands. You see, remember that guy from
Spirited Away?
No, I was thinking The Castle. No, you're right. Spirited Away.
Yeah, with
the
all the
Smith,
arms.
the guy with the. That's totally what.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have one hand.
Yeah.
Right. He has like 20 hands, and that's what those two. So right now I'm at 3. What does your experience tell you?
Can I start with Gene Line?
No, because you're not using Gene Line.
Oh, so
Gene Line's a fail for you right now.
Oh, okay. It doesn't do anything. Okay, good.
Until you bring in support.
Okay.
Right.
Well, so experience is back onto thin slicing, right? So
Yep. So what's your experience tell you? What's that look like for us?
I mean, for the same reason I was thinking around the Gene Line, but I would have a good sense of maybe what the interfaces are for this building, like where things are coming in and out, right? Like what does a restaurant need,
right?
In terms of just not pure water, but like really anything that feeds in through through the environment, and then how it also interacts with because remember all his sewage, all his trash goes out through those same lines. So if he's built into this building, he's dependent on some of those things. So I'm looking for a weakness.
Absolutely.
Because like if I had the wherewithal to stop or clog up or otherwise make him worry about any of those things, it might force him to reveal his hand.
All right. Now, our next steps are to say our next actions, right? And how we do this, I think if I were to do a campaign, I'd probably make cards for all the actions.
Right.
And then the super user puts down his action, and then you guys would decide what yours is.
Yeah, because I don't remember what they all are.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think it would make a lot of sense. But I'll go through some of them now, right? Now, if one of them is call, and when you call, you're ending the thing. And then during that turn, so you can't go for it because you only used one experience, right? But if you did support or if you brought in tech, then you could add conceivably to yours. If he called, because he's right now 3-2, if he called and you did something that didn't generate, right, he would win, right?
Yep.
So the challenge, and you would lose flow, right? I mean, you're going to lose flow, but it's a matter of how much you're going to lose and such like that. So let's see, what are some of the other things you could do? You could burn interface. You could burn tech. You could burn Gene Line. Like you say, I'm really tenacious, kind of idea. You sacrifice a point from your Gene Line, experience, technology, or interface, and then you may burn multiple goals. Burn cards are removed from your opponent's hand. So you could, by burning Gene Line and say, I'm tenacious, you will remove one of his cards. That makes sense, like pushing that hard for our little game, right? Because but that also means whatever you burn, you don't have for one of the other scenes. Okay. You could recalibrate because if your interface in some way matches the tags, then for thin slicing, then you could convert a hazard to a bug and redraw that hazard, right? And a bug, you would get a bug, which I could use against you narratively in some fashion. Engage technology, you draw from the tech deck, which we'll pull up in a second. Support switches you to Gene Line, and then would give you 2 additional abilities to go for it. But if you called support and I called call, we would tie, right? 3-3.
Yeah.
And then go for it. So that's it. It's tech, support, go for it, recalibrate, burn, and call.
I think support's the best one. I'm going to go.
For support. Yeah. So I did choose call. So that means, how are you bringing in your Gene Line? Which tag do you want to focus on narratively?
Oh, I see. So, I was thinking really just pulling in information that, the family business would have. on Ep, so that I could get a name or a contact or something to draw him out.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like give him like if I knew who his sales rep was, you know what I mean, and I could take on that. You know.
Sure. And may I suggest that through thin slicing, you can actually manipulate some of these images in the doors to gather this information, right? Remember, that's what you're trying to do is gather the information. It can't just come out of thin air, right? Or thin air. Yeah. So maybe that's how you pull it, right? That information. But what is a tie, right? Yeah. So you see the person, but you don't know who they are, right? So now in a tie, what happens? We wipe these clean. These go into the discard pile, and we do another round. And we won't do more than 2, even if it's a tie. There is a sudden death now if we continue to tie. So draw 2 cards. Oh, no. I start the exact same way. No. You start 2 hazards, right? I think the images that you see, you actually know for a fact that there is a mercy that manages these things, and they all have an identical gene line. They literally are copies of one another. There is some idea that maybe one of the things that they were trying to do is clone. You know, it's like print the same body, and then different people are in the same body. Some people, there's rumors that, nope, it's the same person, and they like cohabitating, right? Just to cover so many, this supply and demand, right? Cover so many, like, you know, maybe they carry spools of, you know, printed material that they use for the printers, you know, kind of idea. So yes, you see the person, but you know it's this replicated individual. Like you don't know which one it is, right? Yeah. You know what mercy it is, right? Yeah. But that's all you've narrowed it down.
But that also make it really difficult to imitate too.
Right.
Yeah.
So now we're in the same place we were before. Do we lean into our gene line? Do we lean into our experience? I think I'm going to lean in. I'm going to lean into experience this time and say he only has 1 in it, but it's ghosting. That he's good at hiding because he wants this to be a magical experience. So he really tries to put the details away. So I'm going to choose experience ghosting. What do you want to choose, gene line or thin slicing?
I'm going to stick with the thin slicing.
Okay.
Oh, well, actually, the gene line's better, right? Because I've got 2 in it.
You do have 2 in it.
All right, well, let me be...
You could, especially since it's a tiebreaker round.
Let me be strategic here.
Sure.
And lean into the gene line.
Sure. What tag do you want to use?
Well, at this point, tenacious, right? You're just like, I'm going to keep finding it. I know the information's here. He's giving me the information, right? Awesome. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah. Draw 2 cards. Boom. No ways.
Oh my God. You didn't shuffle that very well.
This is not looking good for you. It's 4 hazards versus 3 successes. Ooh.
What are the
Meanwhile, your good-for-nothing brother is trying to order something at once.
Yeah.
All right.
Like it sucked last time. Maybe it'll be better this time.
So this is pretty dire for you because it doesn't make any sense for me to not call.
Right.
Like I kind of have to call. I have such a huge, and there's no way for you to get 3.
Right.
You know, out of anything that you would do. Right.
Yeah.
So I think this is the time for you to call and take your lumps.
Yeah.
And I think this is going to be a failed experiment. You learned some things through this process.
Well, I learned that he's got way too many effing hands.
He's got way too many hands. You're not even sure which hand it is at this point, right?
No, I came in here thinking this guy's like dishing out food.
Right.
I gotta get him to use his left hand instead of his right hand. Or to stick his hand out to do a terminal. But no, he's back there with like multiple robotic hands, and he's chilling in a pod that he never comes out of because he's a ghost.
So remove 5 flow. and discard your cards. Now, the good news is you got all of those hazards out of the way. So the next time you're in, the likelihood of those hazards coming away. I just want to point out how many hazards we're not counting, right? We shouldn't go back and count, but just give you a sense. How many hazards do you have so far? I think you have 6 hazards in there, right?
Yeah.
No, 5 hazards. You have 4 plus 1.
Yeah.
Remember, there's 10 or 15. Oh, 15 hazards. So you used a third of the hazards for that challenge. All right.
I thought I shuffled well.
Right.
No, you did. It's not a lot of cards in the deck, right? So it's hard to not clump. It honestly is.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be so hard out of 4 things to be like differentiate those 4 things. You know, it's not like a magic deck. You know.
Yeah.
All right.
Or a regular card deck.
So, do you have a sense of how this is going? Right?
Not too well.
Yeah. Well, you're scratching your head. You're scratching your head.
I mean, the question is,
sure.
do we want to keep pursuing the hand, or should we keep going forward? Should we go forward with
I think we're going to have to figure another way to get this interface. So, in the meantime, we might as well, figure out what image we're going to
get our branding together?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can change gears, or you can follow up with what's going on.
I guess we'll move that forward. Yeah. One question. So if we know someone who's really good at branding, whatever, would that be a negotiation then to try to make a deal with them?
Yeah.
Okay. That seems like a better way than me doing it myself. Like I know someone, because he pitched this idea before of them like being parties. People are like off themselves as part of the parties. They don't get over. There's someone who promotes a lot of those parties, and I've seen his stuff around. It's like, oh, okay, like that guy. I want to get him.
They just drive themselves into the ditch and then die.
Yeah.
Right? It's like you don't want to go halfway because then life's going to suck the next morning. And
it's like, oh, that guy, he likes to burn the candle at both ends and then some. I think he's perfect for this.
I really like that idea. Sometimes I'd have you use social engineering to find that person, right? But I do like the idea as long as that person is in the same level as you, it's the same, there is this person I think their name is Dodger, and Dodger is he
artful?
It's not in their own mercy. They aren't interested in fabrication or anything to that effect. Their entire thing is them trying to find the greatest high. They're not super spiritual, but there's a little transcendence. They're like, in fact, you and Dodger have connected on more than one occasion because Dodger has tried to convince you that maybe a way to get off the station is mentally. Right? maybe I can get to Titan, man. Maybe I could get there.
I mean, he's not thinking about doing it.
Maybe we could go together.
Yeah.
And then the aggregate can't do anything, man. Like
it sounds like someone would be. At least I know some gifts we could give him.
100%. And, some people think Dodger's a joke, but quite honestly, like, Dodger has like some interesting ideas, is really philosophical about it and really trying to, obviously they believe in their own cause. They are a mercy of one. And
good visually, though.
Well, I'm part of the idea. He does promotion for like the events or whatever.
Yep. Because like he wants to get invited to these things. Like, man, I'll tell you what, I'll like make this awesome. Like I saw an image of what you need.
Psychedelic.
I saw it in a dream last night, man, and I'm gonna make it for you, and I'm gonna give it to you. I have it on this napkin, man. And all I want is just get invited to your next gig. That's all I want, man. Kind of idea.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I'll try to negotiate with him.
All right, cool. Where do you find Dodger?
I think I probably have to spend like a little bit of time, like kind of like looking, because I know what his flyers look like or whatever they are, promotions, and like tracking those to parties. And like, I'd say like the first couple parties I go to, I don't find him. And like, like I'm like next day I'm all hungover and like, I should have died, but didn't. That would have been smarter on my part. And then
hold on, stop there.
Okay.
Dodger is dead in your lap. you, the two of you were like burning the candle. You were halfway into it, right? When you saw a Dodger, and like a small part of whatever cognizance you had was like, what's that look like? What do you like intoxicated? What were you intoxicated on? And what's that experience for you?
I will say, some of the kids are calling Chinese Christmas now. So, Blaze or something.
Totally Chinese Christmas. It is 100% Chinese Christmas.
I think that's what it was. Like one of the iced tea, like me. So
you guys may not even know what Chinese means.
Right.
But it's 100%
the kids are calling. I don't know. It's crazy. So I probably like got distracted because I was like looking for him, but then like it started kicking in. I started dancing and like basically probably the most of the night was like dancing, like a feather boa on my neck, all sorts of weird, glittery things all over my body. And I got whatever that is, that's going to be getting into the air filters for weeks.
Totally. It was totally a glitter party. So, like, the color part, like they do color runs and such where this was totally a glitter party.
Yeah.
Like,
just a bad idea in space.
Before you go in, you go through like what looks like to us a metal detector, but what it is, it sprays this resin onto you, and you walk through so that whatever happens, it's sticking to you. Unfortunately, it's very likely a cigarette and like other things too, but 100%.
Right. So basically, I'm dancing, and while I'm dancing, I'm like, that's the guy, and like run over to him and
awesome.
When this is done, when you call me up, as I'm waking up essentially at 5:30, you haven't been up, their version of like, what do you want? And I'm like, what have you been doing?
Important work.
All right. So I think what this challenge is about is it's still social engineering, right? That's what you're trying to do?
I was negotiating.
You want to negotiate. Right. Okay. Part of the question is, did you already do the negotiation and it was successful? Do you still need to do the negotiation? I think that's part of the question, right? In terms. So I'm going to flip. I'm going to turn. By the way, you need to put up, hold on, sorry, negotiation. So negotiation creates binding contracts that award 5 points of flow to the signatories upon completion. So you both get 5 flow if it's successful. It's targeted, so it's against his flow, but he's about the same level as you are, right? Initiator uses negotiation or a appropriate tagged gene line, and the target uses negotiation, social engineering, or a gene line with the appropriate tag. Draw 2 cards.
Okay. Hazard and Freemarket.
All right. So I get a Freemarket and a gene line. I'm going to use gene line. I think he's going to have a pretty weak gene line. Although, I don't know, I think he's going to be a 2 like you guys. And the reason is because I think he's worked on his own gene line, right? To make him less susceptible or like get less of the bad stuff and more of the good stuff, right? So I'm going to use gene line instead of experience. He's not really a negotiator. He's not good at that. He's like, yeah, whatever, man, totally stoner. And so I have 2. I have a Freemarket and a gene line. And I'm going to start with just what I said before. This is part of the question. The question is, you're not certain if you did the negotiation or not.
Already before you die.
Right? As you're just waking up, you're very fuzzy-headed, and you get what?
Well, I got Freemarket.
And a hazard, right?
Yeah.
Cool. And what's your little slice of the pie? What's going towards your success?
Probably run over to him and like give him what I took, right? And start talking really fast, doing my smooth talking thing. He probably, it's possible if he died afterwards, it was the drug that I gave him that pushed him over the line. I didn't even think of that. But, but I'm trying to do him a favor by doing that,
Right.
and smooth talking him. No, there aren't any other actions I take at this point, right?
No, we're not at the actions yet. I'm just saying, what
Right.
does your free market mean? What positive thing do you start with, right? I'm starting with the negative of you don't know if you've made the negotiation or not, right? What little piece of the pie do you have?
He's drugging you.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Great. Sounds good. You clearly came out of a party,
Yeah.
right? Happy, right? He's got a smile on his face. All right. So I'm going with gene line. What are you going with? Experience or gene line? Again, you have to guess, right?
Yeah. And I can only use experience once, right?
You only have one in negotiation?
Oh, I have two.
You have two, so you
I could
can
use
go
twice.
for it twice. Yep.
Okay.
And if you choose gene line, you go for it twice.
Right.
He can use gene line. He can go for it twice. So this is going to be a battle.
Right. Yeah, I guess I'll go for it.
Okay. Sounds good. No.
Off of negotiation.
Are you using you're using negotiation?
Yeah.
Sounds good. So you just draw two cards. Ooh, that's bad for me.
I drew two
hazards. Okay. Do you want to narrate why is it going downhill for you right now? It's going downhill for me too.
Because I'm remembering that like after I gave him the things and like started pitching to him, it was like he was already so intoxicated he doesn't really know what I'm talking about. Like,
right.
Like, yeah,
right,
cool,
right,
whatever.
right.
Yeah.
Your words are coming out as
Yeah.
colors.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not going to remember
Yeah.
any of this.
Right.
What he agrees to.
Yeah.
It's not going to get right.
I don't have anything bad for you though, right? I think you're just like maybe scratching your head and trying to get something out of it. But right now we're kind of at this little weird stalemate. I'm a little ahead of you, but we haven't. The only thing both of us have done is wasted go for it. Right?
Right. Yeah.
I know what I'm doing. What do you want to do?
See, my options are go for it. I can't play off of anything because I've only gotten a free market and hazards.
You could play tech. You could use an interface if it's appropriate to redraw one of your hazards.
Yeah, I could do that. I have one that's keyed to negotiation.
There you go.
The culture soft. And
Culture soft.
Hypnotic is one of the tags on that.
Oh, awesome! So you're like trying to beam that into his head, right? That's awesome.
Yeah.
So that's your action. So what you do is you get a bug.
Okay.
Right. Here you go. You get a bug. Put that on one of your hazards, and then draw another card.
Okay. Gene line.
Gene line. And you're leaning into negotiation, so doesn't put you forward. But if you did support, it would give you another thing.
Okay.
Right? All right. I did support, and I'm going to say, this is his life. Right. This is how he does things. He's negotiating. But the problem for you is that he's negotiating something completely different. You know what I mean? He's still on the we can go to Saturn together, man. Kind of idea. Completely.
Right. I'm like, a picture of Saturn. A picture of Saturn.
Yeah.
No, man, let's go. Let's go right now.
He's too with our vision already. He's already totally bought into it, and he doesn't get the concept.
Yeah.
No, we got to get on the.
So our next action, I know what I'm doing.
I'm going to do support.
Okay. You're doing support.
Off the gene line.
Sounds good. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to draw two. Now, because I did support, I do gain two, right? You got support, so you gained one.
Right.
So right now it's 2 to 6.
Jesus. All right.
Now, we're, I think, in the same situation, right? Is now I want to point out I have the same decks as you guys do.
Yeah. I was just thinking.
I have a shit ton of hazards under here, right?
That's a theory.
Because of all of these. So we are seeing like this interesting narrative draw of you guys bombing in your first things. Because I don't think there's no reason for me to not call, right? And I know what I'm going to do when I call. So there's no reason not to call because there's no way for you to get from 2 to 6. Even if you burn something, I still am going to be at 5.
Right.
So what do you want to do? You could go for it, which makes sense for you to do.
Yeah, might as well.
Just to close that gap a little bit.
Might as well. So Freemarket and Freemarket.
Freemarket.
So I have 4.
You have 4. I have 6. I win. You lose unfortunately, you lose 10 flow.
Oh, jeez.
Because that's what his flow was.
Right. So I have 3 left.
You lose 10 flow. And what happens is he's dead.
Right. And I'm close to being kicked off the station now. I've got 3 left.
You got 3 left. Yeah, that's so you got it.
So then the call is, so wait a minute. What did you do? You killed him?
Well, no, I mean, I tried to pitch it to him, and I mean, yeah, I guess I might have.
Like you know him well enough that there's not going to be any hard feelings.
You might not even remember it.
But you totally killed him. All right, let's go back to you. Right now, first off, the 2 of you have less flow.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to point out that gives you an opportunity. You can actually bid more flow than you have, right?
Okay.
So even though you have a little flow, you can do more because remember, if you succeed, you could put
I don't know. I was choosing my bid. I thought you chose the bid.
Well, what I'm saying is, what's your flow is at 8 right now, right? If like your target was 16, if you decided to go for shoot for somebody at tier 2, right?
Yeah.
And your flow and your target was 16 for social engineering, you can do that and just hope that you have 2 extra successes for efficiency, which brings the cost down to 8. And you be at 0. Zero's fine as long as you don't go under. You'd be at 0, but you'd succeed and get the effect and blah 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 blah. If you got more than that, then maybe you got it down to 4. Right? And now you have 4 flow to work with and you're building from there. That's how you get more flow is by betting big, but understanding you might get kicked off the station.
Right.
You can't go to 16, but you could go to 6 pretty comfortably because if you succeed, and we know I got a lot of hazards in here, if you succeed, then you can put that towards efficiency. So what do you want? What's your next thing?
I'm a low risk. I'm going to go 7.
If you have a choice.
No, going to bring me up beyond the 13.
Sure. So what are you trying to do? What's narratively? What are you doing? Where are you? Do you want to continue from this, or do you want to
keep going for the hand?
No. I'm going to move on to. I mean, the next thing was getting to
a location
where you can broadcast a signal.
Sure.
Now it would be ideal if I had an interface hand that would help me hack in to that signal and figure out exactly what I need to do, but maybe I can figure out once I get there. It would also be nice that once I got there, I had a banging psychedelic image that would win over everybody. But I'm just going to draw this shit right here.
No. He literally, you have a crumbled up napkin and it's garbage. It's like he was explaining it to you as this amazing thing. And at the time,
it seemed like
you thought this was the best thing since sliced bread. And you're just really, dude.
How much of it's I could probably design something better,
so
a tab.
This looks like a squished bug. Supposed to be Saturn.
All right. So you got your crumbled up napkin. You can decide whether or not you want to use it. And, you can hear Dodger, even though he's not with us right now, you can hear Dodger being just go with it, man. Just go with the flow. Who are you going to approach? Where are you going to go? You're saying a location.
This is an infiltration. Just simply a stealthy one. This is
because that would be ghosting.
Right. No. This is a talk your way into, deceive your way into getting into a place that you're not supposed to be at.
And what is that place?
I mean, it's going to be a communication antenna array, control center. You know what I mean? I'm going to have to get not into the aggregate, but this is where a lot of people
sort of infrastructure.
Sort of
infrastructure.
Yeah. I imagine a lot of it's got, just sort of exposed, interlocking scaffolding, but among that is...
I'm just thinking of those ubiquitous scenes. I don't know what it is about Star Wars where they have to climb in these like vacuous areas, like precarious areas that for some reason have machinery that do things. Yeah. Like, who goes there? What?
But then if you fall eternally.
So, all right. You have heard of something called the long wave. And the long wave apparently is a means to connect with a number of different people's keys. Apparently, it's like a subscriber thing. Apparently, like you plug into the long wave. And so if you can gain access to the long wave and you know where it is, you've been told it's like up this spiral staircase, Normally in a longer game, I might have you holy mountain it. But in this case, you go through this arduous task of getting there, right? And you find the long wave is a person. And apparently it's this individual, and long wave has an interface.
Sort of the drugged up hippies.
That connects. He's some sort of like, not spiritual, like it's semi-spiritual. It's like techno-spiritual guru that people listen to their podcasts, right? He's a little higher than you are. He's a higher mercy than you are.
Yeah, it was also a great guy to get rid of son.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's risky. It's very risky, right? You would be putting up 16.
Might as well go for it.
See how it works. You could take other routes. You just went through, like, you're sweating. You're like going at the top of these stairs. There's this windy tower that you're on top of. And there's this guy just sitting there, and you could see like these VR or AR screens around him. And he's just watching, like, the ebb and flow of information. And, he's just talking. He's just like this soothing sort of experience in people's heads. Like, they literally get like a Keysoft, right? It's like buying Calm, right? They get a Keysoft of him just like, be like, hey, you can do this, that kind
positive affirmation videos.
And I'm not going to let a significant opportunity to go by. What I mean? Like I'm power hungry is
right. There you go. This is it. Shoot for the fences or get off this fucking station.
And just realizing like the opportunity that like, wait, I'm not going for an interface. Like, if I can get this guy. To buy into this.
And you were right. You could have used the interface. Like, the glove would have helped
to use this
in this, But alas, that's something for another day, But here you are.
Here I am, and it's a guy, and it's not,
Right.
Like,
and you just want him to post. Do you use Dodger's image, or do you make something yourself?
I was almost going to say, can I get him to do it? But
it kind of brings his cult into it, sort of.
Let's see how this works.
Yeah,
right.
I'll just describe it to him. I'll just say, you just got to put out die for your live. Yeah.
Yep. All right, let's do
it. No heart in there.
Right.
Just die for your with the image of Saturn. So whatever he decides to put out, and maybe it's fire. You know what I mean?
Maybe. Let's see. Draw 2 cards.
I wrote heart in. You're like, that's not what it is.
All right, so I have an experience at a free market.
Got another hazard. Oh my God.
Another hazard.
Yeah, I know. I'm
counting great.
4 hazards in a row.
But six hazards in a row. This is your 6th hazard. Yeah. All right. I'm clearly going to use experience. Okay. He is going to use, I think you're using social engineering for this?
That was my intention.
Yeah. And do you have social engineering too?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Hold on 1 sec. Just give me a minute. Social engineering, it is targeted, which we already decided. He uses social engineering, shaping, or appropriately. So he's going to use shaping.
Yeah.
He's shaping 2.
Yeah.
He's pretty good at it. He doesn't talk a lot. He's not here to convince you of anything. He thinks everything you decide, but of course he's doing stuff, right? Yeah.
Right.
So he's using shaping. And he's like, wait, don't say anything. I know why you're here.
Don't speak. I know what you're thinking.
Do you want to use gene line, which is showing, or do you want to try to go with experience?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's again, this is a person, so I got to convince him this is important.
Right.
It's important for him to listen to me.
Okay, social engineering.
Yeah.
All right. So right now it's 2-1. All right.
Yes.
So what's your action? What action do you want to take? You have social engineering 2. He has shaping of 2. You can both go for it twice.
Can I still call social engineering for this draw, or
Yeah. No. If you've chosen social engineering, you're looking for experience. You can choose support and bring in your gene line later on, but that's not going to help you immediately, really.
Yeah.
It's going to give you 1. Right now, you're 0 to 2.
Yeah.
It'll give you 1.
I got it.
You go for it?
Definitely, yes, going for it with social.
Right.
Oh my God, another hazard.
Well, I got a hazard also. While you're at 0, it's very clear you could bring in tenacious, so it'd only be 2 to 3, right? Which is fine. I could call, but you could go for it again and get 2.
Yeah.
So he wants you to succeed. Like, I'm not going to call it. I mean, but he's like coaxing you. He's like, look, this is. I'm not going to give it to you, but you have to try harder.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Well, he kind of sees through my, me trying to use my name to, well, this isn't about that, right? Like, that's not right.
Awesome. I know what I'm going to do. Do you know what you're going to do?
I'm going to have to go for it. Yeah.
All right, sounds good. Me too.
Yeah. Oh, come
Another
on.
hazard. Oh my
And
God.
no hazard for you. Oh my God.
How is it even fun? Oh my God.
Oh, this is not good for you. I think your brother is getting kicked out the station.
Yeah.
All right. But this is good. This is good because why we're doing this. All right. I have 4 right now, and you have zilch.
Yeah.
I think I know what I'm going to do. I know what my action's going to be. What do you want to do?
That doesn't make sense to burn anything. Technology is not going to get me anything but 1.
Right.
Yeah.
Once somebody gets like 2 ahead, it becomes really difficult.
At least at our level. Yeah.
Yeah. But you're taking one for the team for your brother because I'm still getting all of this good stuff.
Yeah. I guess I'm not getting his attention no matter what.
He's going to give you some advice. I'm going to call. He's going to say, it's going to be cryptic. It's going to, you know what I mean? Like, whatever he says, you're going to have to that didn't make any sense to me whatsoever. So I'm not even going to tell you what he says. We can say it later on for the narrative, but you're just like, really? I'm not here for that, know? And instead,
come back when you are true to yourself.
He's like, I got you. And he closes his eyes and he broadcasts. And you come back to your brother. And first off, you absolutely know he's a goose egg.
That broadcast he put out probably had just a flash of my in there, along with just sort of this,
and it's some cryptic message and
something along the lines of "Don't be like this.
Don't be like this guy." Right?
is what ultimately goes out to the world.
And on top of that, so he sends you a ping to be a friend. And I think part of the success is that you friended him. So he's part of the subscription. You gave him, I think it's 2. I think 2 or 3 flow. And made him more popular. But now,
Right.
All right. Last scene for our little session.
Do I get it?
We are going to go through, by the way, what happens. So there's a couple end of session things we do that we'll wrap up with, okay? To see if you get kicked out of the station.
Did you lose flow for that scene? Or?
Yes, he lost 16 flow. He's 0. Now, I want to point out that this is a good time for you. It's totally at my discretion whether or not he friends you back. If you want, you could gain more, like take away your deficit and get 2. So you go from -8 to -6 if you wanted another friend.
Yeah, I mean, that could prove useful if...
So just remember you're at -6 when we get there, but we'll see what that looks like. Jamie?
We failed at all of our attempts.
Yes.
I'm trying to think.
I am not about counting cards, but just out of interest, 20 out of 45 cards I've used already, and they've been almost all successes. And very few hazards.
Yeah.
I really did shuffle very well. Like I literally did several bridge shuffles.
Because we're gonna try to move those things forward, but now we don't have things to move forward. So I'm trying to think of like a new angle for.
Right. So you could do one of 3 things. Right. You could follow up with what you were doing and you failed on it. You know, all it means is he died. You need to go find out, did we to renegotiate, right?
Yeah.
Negotiate. Was that your symbol? What, you know, or you could go towards a failure of Ari's and try to do something new where he failed, or you could try something new.
I think the most likely inclination is for him to try to track down Dodger.
Okay.
Yeah. Just because it makes sense for him. He knows him.
Well, you know he's getting reprinted.
Mm-hmm.
You know he's probably where he's getting reprinted, right?
Okay.
You could just find him there.
It might be imperative that you get to him before he's no longer sober.
Right.
So,
Well, I think
which could happen within 5
I assume he'd
minutes
be
of the
printed.
Well, that's what we're saying, that there's a gap. There's a point of printed sober to like how long does it take?
Maybe moments.
Yeah, I'll try to bring his favorite, breakfast or whatever with me.
I think that's fantastic. That's great. Bring him a gift, right? You're going to get 10.
Yeah.
Right? Gift and breakfast.
Yeah.
Right? Awesome. What kind of breakfast
The
do you want
irony
to
is,
bring?
you get it from the food mart.
Right. What kind of breakfast do you want to bring him?
What was the place called?
The Imagimat.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
He only eats falafel wraps. That's the only thing he eats, so I'm going to bring him that.
Okay. From the Imagimat?
Yeah, I guess, yeah, sure.
Okay, sounds good. So I'll tell
The
you
irony
what.
is when you're ordering food for someone else, it's actually really effective.
Right? We'll see.
Yeah.
So we have a couple different ways. We've already kind of done the you and Dodger negotiating thing. Right? So I'm a little loath to go in that direction again.
Right, do it.
Right? I would suggest getting the perfect gift is really the key here.
Okay.
The perfect breakfast, right, is going to grease the wheels and is going to... Now, you might be a little concerned that inspiration does not hit Dodger as well when he's sober, but you don't know. But really bringing in that perfect gift, because remember, that perfect gift is 10 flow.
Right.
Right?
Well, you guys decided you want to do this, but the other thought is you take the gift and it's a speed run to where he's at. So it takes a while for the perfect gift
To get to him, right? So
really,
there's a couple areas of failure.
The challenge is he's got to get across the,
Right. So maybe we're watching Dodger as you're finding this and getting...
I mean, it's up to you. You do either one, but I just was thinking,
or both.
right? You've got
I'm going to mix it up a little bit here too.
You got to catch a couple autos. You got to use your drones to track down.
Right. So you have a couple different options, right? Getting breakfast to Dodger is the key. That's what we're talking about here.
Sure.
Right. All right. Let's see here. I think now traveling is not a thing in this game, right? Traveling is not a challenge.
Yeah.
And we don't want to do engineering per se. What experiences do you have?
It has to be experience, can't be a gene line.
No. All right. Let's draw and find out. You're right.
All right.
Sounds good. So draw 2 cards.
Another hazard. Gene line is one of them.
All right.
Let's go.
So I get an experience in a G line. I'm going to use Geneline because I think he's really used to getting reprinted.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of his other tags is recycled. But he comes out of these things. Some people come out and they're a little discombobulated, right?
Yeah.
He comes out, he's like, "Hey man, let's go," right?
He's already got a stash. Or
Yeah.
He's hit.
Now, do I need to use a support to access the Geneline?
No.
Okay.
You could start with Geneline if you want to.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Right? Because remember, your Geneline's 2, which means you could go for it twice.
So
what tag do you want to use for this?
I think quick.
Quick.
Yeah,
This is
what I'm
perfect,
saying.
right?
Yeah,
I'm there. When he walks out,
I'm already there.
if this goes well, when he walks out, you have said falafel wrap presented.
I'm sending you an auto.
All right, sounds good. So, I'm sorry, actions.
Right.
I know what my action's going to be.
I think I want to go for it this time.
All right.
2 free markets.
2 free markets. Woot! All right, so right now we are tied, right? Which is a good place to be. You'd rather he's a little behind. He's not, but you're drawing well. I think my thing is he needs a fix. Okay? He needs a fix. And so he stops. He doesn't stop. He stops really close to a breakfast place that's really close to the printer place. But he stops to smoke. He stops to be like, "Oh shit," and he starts asking around people "Hey, what do you got on you?" He's basically panhandling for stimulants, which quite honestly in free market is not hard to come by. Right. All right, cool. What's your 2 free markets? How does the station help you? Right.
Yeah. Well, I think it's kind of the station, but also sort of my knowledge of it. I use some access tunnels and stuff that aren't the usual ways of getting around that I'm kind of used to.
Remember, your shtick is infrastructure, right?
Yeah,
You've been traveling the waterways since you were, pre-printed.
Right, because we're in the mob. Right?
Yeah. Well. You get a little scuba mask you put on your face and you just get into one of the tubes. And
there you go. Yeah. There you go. All right. I know what my action's going to be. What's your action?
It doesn't make any sense to do support. I can do before it one more time. Call. I don't want to call on a tie. I guess I'll go for it the last time.
All right. I'm going to choose tech. So he's going to he's going to lean into find some sort of printer that's going to get him high. Okay, basically, right? Nope.
Okay, got a hazard.
Yep.
Cool. So I got 2 Genelines.
Hoorah! You're doing Geneline, right? You're quick.
So I'm rushing.
you're
running with the falafel wrap in my hand.
Right now it is 4 to 5.
Yeah, I want to call. I think. I can't go for it again. Right?
Hold on.
All right.
Before you decide to do that, let me decide what I'm going to do. Because I can go for it again.
Okay.
No, I know what I'm going to do.
Okay. I think call. Because I can't do anything else really. I can't go for it. There's no point in doing support. Tech, I looked at my tech. None of them are tied to.
We didn't say what your target number is, by the way. I think you are putting 10 flow on the line.
Okay. Well, either way, I was going to be in negative, so. So yeah, I guess I'm going to call.
Okay, you're going to call. I'm gonna support, and again, he is. You said, you were using Geneline.
Right. We
generally, by the way, should have at least announced an experience. That's part of it. That's how you figure out what the target number is.
Oh, okay.
So it was a little weird. Your target was him, right? So I think it's appropriate, regardless of what was used, that it's his flow, because he did not lose any flow from winning those things. So he's 4, and you're at what?
5.
5. Okay. So you have 1 that you succeeded in.
Mm-hmm.
You may use that for effect or for efficiency. You have to use one for effect, unfortunately.
Well, yeah.
Right? Which means you're both. All right. So using one for effect, however, for you means you get him breakfast, right? He's literally turns to face the kiosk that he's going to get his favorite falafel. And I think, unless you want to narrate, like, I think you just bought his falafel and turned around.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, you race to get to him and you're like, ta-da, you know? And he like takes it and he's like looking at you like wide-eyed, and he takes a bite. He's like, you know, and he like raises the falafel in the air. And he's like, he was really bummed because he was sober. So he's really happy.
Okay.
Right? And this is a perfect gift. And you get 10.
Oh, cool.
So from the gift, you're going to get 10 and then you're going to lose 10.
Right.
Because you don't have anything to put towards efficiency. You may, and I suggest that by and large, these things are supplementary. They're not going to be challenges unless you really make them challenges. You could ask him, you could friend him to add him to your list of friends.
I would do that, I guess.
You want to do that? So then he's going to accept, because you gave him this awesome gift. He's going to like offer, you know, being a friend also. I think that's what
maybe
like,
I'll come up with the drawing.
Right.
for the two of you. So you're mutual friends, unless you say no. Do you want to say no?
No.
Okay. So that's a white flow wise, right? So you're at 3, you're at -6.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Now, let's do what happens at the close
The wrap-up,
of the
yeah.
game. There's a wrap-up. All right. The first thing is the section of flow, because what happens to your flow is part and parcel. Friending. If you friend another user and the user accepts, you get 2. Once you're friends, you can see each other's locations. Blah, blah, blah. Friending also makes you part of a social insurance network, which we'll talk about in a second. In order to friend a user, simply ping them. It's possible to spend more flow than you have at the end of the challenge. If your flow is 0 or negative, you're in flow debt, and kids call that tanking. You've tanked your flow, dropped to 0 or less, and now you're in a spat of trouble. If you have social insurance, which you do because you're part of a mercy. After efficiency is factored, if social influence does not ease you're above 0, you're put up for a station-wide vote. You may not initiate any challenges while at 0 or in the negative. You may be targeted in challenges. If are targeted, the default minimum flow investment is 1. You can't set the level at any higher than that. You're quite vulnerable. You may gift, friend, fulfill contracts, and receive attaboys while at 0. So if you give somebody something, you'll be in the positive. But before that happens. So this is crazy. Ready? You've heard a lot about it, but what is it? Whenever you friend someone, you also agree to be part of their social insurance network. Should your friend flow drop to 0 or below, you agree to donate your own flow in order to bolster them. Mm-hmm. So we're going to see if your brother is going to unfriend you. But hold on. This goes both ways. If flow tanks, your friends agree to give you. Flow is donated 1 point at a time, starting with the oldest friend and moving down the list to the most recent friend. If one round of donations isn't enough, the deduction continues down the friend list. You have 2 friends. You have your brother and you have Longwave.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, you're at -6. So that will put your brother at 0.
Oh, he's giving me it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So what happens is you decide first, right? If you're going to, now you have to do the first one because you're friends. Right. So you do the first one, Longwave does the first one. However, you get to decide if you want to unfriend your brother so that yours does not tank.
No, I think my character is kind of like he's not reliable with most people, but I feel like we're kind of tight because like that's it, kind of. So I think
Okay. Long wave is more than happy to give you flow, and
he took it in the first place.
Well,
and so his magnanimous actions gets accolades from all of his followers, and he's just like, look, life is about growth. Like, this boy, let's give him a second. What do you think, guys? Let's give him a second chance. And they're like,
I wouldn't have put my image out there. Like, don't be like that.
Don't be like that guy.
Yeah.
So you only have 3 left, right? So you go to 0, and he goes to 0, putting you from your -6 to 0.
Yeah.
Okay.
That includes long wave.
Yes, that includes long wave. Now, that goes to 0. You have to be at 1 to be able to do anything. But that's going to put you at -1.
Okay.
Because you're at 0 now, right? Because you gave him 3.
I was at 3, so now it's 0, yeah.
You're now at 0, and long wave gave 3. Mm-hmm. So that would put you at -1 and you at 1, which is weird. Because then you bounce that 1 back and forth.
I don't understand how I thought we were both at 0.
Yeah, wouldn't that be at 0? Like
What?
3 minus 3?
You would be at both at 0, but at 0, you guys are getting both kicked off the station in a vote. No, that's not true. All right, so this is the problem. Because you're both each other's friends. You're basically with back. So I don't know how that works. Let's just.
But would he get one from his friend?
Yes, that's the thing. But it starts with you. So what I'm going to say is you're both at 1 because you both have friends.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Like, I'm not going to have you bounce off of each other because that would be weird.
Yeah, it's like the friend circle of 3 people who have $20 they pass around on Venmo.
Right. Yeah. So Dodger and Long Wave both give you an extra 1. And for doing that, they both get 10 flow for the gift. So you did manage to stay on the station. Now, I am not certain if that's exactly how that works, but I think it does. By the way, defriending costs 2 flow. So you would have had to decide that after the first one, which would have put you at 0 anyway.
Right. Yeah.
So you might as well try to save him.
Yeah.
Right? All right. Now.
All right, so I have this great idea. Now that, Long Wave has put my face out there, we incorporate my face into the slogan with Saturn as the backdrop.
Okay, hold on. Now there's one more thing that we're going to do, which is at the end of the session, transfer one of your short-term memories to a long-term memory. So choose one of your short-term memories and turn it into a long-term memory. That's the first thing.
Cool. You can use the one where your foot got run over because it's funnier.
Yeah.
It was an accident. It's just a complete freak accident. No one knows how it happened.
At the start of a session, you may experience a long-term memory, take a long-term memory, and apply it to an appropriate experience. If you already have a rating in that experience, this is for like a next session kind of deal, increase the rating by 1. If you do not have a rating in that experience, you now have it at 1, then the long-term memory is removed from the slot. So next session, you could, if it was appropriate to an experience, you could get rid of a long-term memory and ostensibly turn that into growth. And then I think...
That's how you increase your experiences, basically.
Yes. And I think you use like ephemera. So ephemera infects a user with a short-term memory. When you experience a piece of ephemera, you must take the short-term memory it presents and add it to one of your slots. So you want to ultimately engage with short-term memories, and then those short-term memories convert to long-term memories, and then the long-term memories you turn into experience.
Gotcha.
You see what I'm saying? So that's the cycle that goes on in there.
Okay.
So by and large, you probably, whatever you do, you kind of want to end a session or something like that saying, hey, I want to use the ephemera experience, whether I have it or not. I want to use ephemera to express myself, tell other people what happened. Hey, I talked a long wave. He was a cool cat, kind of deal. And then you get to convert that, and you could then get a point of ephemera, because that would help you later on.
Could we have done that between the two scenes?
It would be a scene. It would sort of be like a little mini scene. Conceivably in a longer game, right? We only ran 2 hours, right? In a longer game, you could do more of those, right? You could be like, a lot of times I think the idea would kind of be that you spend one scene banking a short-term memory.
Right.
Okay.
Right? And then a short-term memory goes to long becomes experience. And then that's how, but then when people start flooding or bleeding, those start changing, and you conceivably could fill your slots and then start losing memories without converting them. So, but yeah, that's the experience system, is converting short-term to long-term and long-term to experience.
Yeah.
But you get short-term by solidifying things that happen to you, by talking about it and sharing and so on and so forth.
Okay, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Okay, crazy girl. Tell me something really strange. I want to know right away. Better than unleashing the crazy bit by bit. I stopped and stared into her eyes, but only saw my reflection in them. Well, I'm a witch. Kind of. Who isn't these days? She said, shrugging. No, I mean, like, my grandfather is a spirit who records the stories of the dead, but my grandmother stole his magic. She's dead. Like, dead. But she's also not dead. Also, I can talk to birds. We just met, she said helplessly. Is this something you do often? No. I don't have many friends. You're pretty, so if that's true, you must be real weird.
You could discover more about the myth-punk Fallen Cycle universe at fallencycle.com.
So let's talk about Freemarket real quick.
Okay.
Right? So there you go. That was Freemarket. I am guessing this is one of the most different games that you will have played thus far.
So,
right?
Yeah.
The next crazy one you're going to play is called My Life with Master.
Yeah, you talked about that one a lot.
Very excited for you guys to play My Life with Master. I don't know when we'll fit it in, but it's a must-play game. It's an absolute must-play game. So Freemarket.
Sounds like it could be kinky.
I think it's more like Renfield from, well, I guess it could still be.
Totally. In fact, they're called Renfields.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a totally, you play minions
nice.
villain in a Baroque horror setting. Freemarket.
All right.
So, first off, what were your impressions?
Yeah, I think it's definitely interesting. There's a couple of little systems in there that caught my attention. It's a little unintuitive in some ways because it's less familiar.
I think in the beginning it's very opaque.
Right.
How you play this game is not easy. There is a lot of guidance. There is a lot of examples between super user and some of the various.
Admittedly, I've only skimmed the rules.
Right. So I feel like if you and it's not a long book, but if you had read the 120 pages, I feel like by looking at the examples, you would get a fair idea of how it would run, but the scope of the game is pretty dramatic.
I think for me, it was, I think more of a struggle really isn't even the system. It's the setting in a way, because it's like the things about the setting. Like if you're familiar with it, you kind of have all these assumptions that but a lot of it's kind of what's it look like that people, how do people interact in this place? What, I get some sort of general sense of it being on a station and stuff, but I felt more reaching in that way, even than the system itself. And just kind of
I believe what you're trying to say is a utopia is not relatable.
That's a kind of different thing somewhat. It's still, I guess it's related, but it's, just, whether it's utopia or not, it's just kind of how do people eat on the station? How do people get around? That sort of thing. The more familiar you are with it in your mind and the setting, kind of easier it is to sort of just make those assumptions.
Yeah.
And know what
there is
you
more
can do.
description. We couldn't really do it here. Mm-hmm. There is more description, and they do a pretty good job in what this is look like, what you see. Right. But the real piece of it, which I was trying to convey, is wherever you are looks like a congested neighborhood, not a big station. So no matter where you are, you're in this capsule surrounded by people and things.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it was built for 10,000, they expanded it to 40, and now it's at 80.
Yeah. I thought it was really easy to picture. I mean, I thought the setting was really just colorful, like in an imaginary way. When you think about cyberpunk as, a lot of these things being kind of dreary or run down.
Yeah.
There was that aspect to it, but, they're orbiting Saturn. So, I mean, I kept thinking as anywhere we're going, it's a totally different environment. And you're right, like you see sort of maybe the rest of the ship or the station expanding outwards with like huge towers that are,
right.
Otherwise maybe some forbidden zones, and you're just kind of in the cracks of
the cracks.
The
especially at a level 1 Mercy, tier 1 Mercy.
But when you look up in the sky, it's this beautiful visage of Saturn and of the moons and the rings, and that's your light source along with everything. So
I was actually really hoping you had succeeded in it, because like you started succeeding. I was hoping like you had just seen long wave, like silhouetted by Saturn. You know what I mean? It could be your, your symbol or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Instead of this scrawled out napkin.
It was okay. We got a chance to imagine it either way.
Yeah.
We got to put those pieces together, whether we succeeded or not.
Yeah. And it's a diceless game, which is something I'm sure a lot. Like for me, that didn't seem too strange, but I know some people, it's kind of like, how come you have an RPG that's diceless?
Sure.
I didn't like it. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like the cards versus dice. Actually, you should probably just reiterate to me, because when you talked about this before in terms of how dice impacts like it being a success,
right,
versus this making a narrative of what it has to be,
right,
based off of your success in the cards. For me, it's a little bit of the medium, although I think at one point we're going to talk about Tarot cards or tarot cards and other and we played card games in the past,
right.
So that each card sort of played a role in the story and the outcomes.
Yeah.
But again, I think for me, just tangibly, missing something without the dice roll.
That's very interesting. That's very interesting. So I have a couple things to say about that.
First, you did at one point tell us something about your thought about how this impacts.
This was part of we're going to have to get some like game theory people for some of the jargon, or we can look it up and maybe we can tag
something I can. I'm much better at writing than talking.
Sure. But basically, I forget the name of this system, but this is part of a group of things where basically you're getting this intermediary narrative. So it's not just a plus or minus. It's not just success or fail, or even success, fail, or partial, which is what we're seeing with some of the other games we play. But what this is doing is it's going through role playing, allowing you to role play through the process to reveal the narrative as we're going. And Dogs in the Vineyard does this. There's a game called Polaris that does this. There's Ganakagak does this, where you're actually probably one of the most famous now is if anybody's played Fiasco. Fiasco, you're spending these dice, and whether it's successes or failures because they're the colors they are and the numbers on the dice.
Right.
And so you're just basically bidding on, all right, well, this happens bad so that you have more good things that come later on. Right.
Yeah.
I also like how cards and things work because I like games that you can game. I like decision making, right? You don't have a lot of decision making when you just roll dice. Some games do, right? We played a couple games where there's some decision making in there. Do I resist or not? Can I resist or not?
Spending successes or it's various. Yeah.
Right. Spending, there's hero points in certain games where you can do, but this and Burning Wheel, you're going to see a lot of this too, even though it's a dice game, right? Right, spending successes in die pools. And I really like when you have this decision-making piece. So those actions compared to what I use, compared to like what's going on, I think really has this very rich narrative flavor, you know? I think if we could do a better job, because I will tell you, rolling dice puts us in a mindset of binary.
Yes.
And I think one of the reasons why I want to bring Freemarket to the fore, and at some point in time we have to play Dogs in the Vineyard because it does the same thing as this, only with dice, is that it brings the emergent narrative to the fore instead of, I do this thing, this happens, we do a blurb, and it's success or fail. Yeah. This is like, how do the cards interact with the narrative, right? And I felt...
And the different possibilities that come out that are tied to your experience or your skills.
I feel like it meant something when you're like, I'm bringing in Tenacious.
Yeah.
I tied. Now I'm switching it up. Now I'm just like, fuck you, I'm going to win this. You know you didn't. Right? Yeah. But your tenacity did not pay off.
Well, the fact that I didn't win anything might have something to do with
like that sort of stuff. Yes, there are people who would say, "Oh, well, we could have come up with those things, right, in the narrative. We could have, but I don't see us doing it. Not just us, but I don't see groups doing that stuff. They think on this binary, and this is what happened. I feel like there's a richness of the narrative that comes out when you're doing this. Now, there's games that I like that I think goes too far. There's a game called With Great Power. Down the line, we might play it because I think it changed the way I thought about comics. Literally, not just superhero games, but comics.
Itself, yeah.
But I get lost in the game a little bit. This, very easy to play out. When you play Dogs, you're going to find Dogs is very easy to manage. It's a little opaque in the beginning, But I get what you're saying, like, sometimes we want dice. Right now, the game we're going to play next time, I think, is going to be a happy medium for you because we're going to play Genesis. And what Genesis does is use special dice to tell those stories.
Yeah, I was thinking of, could you do this in a special dice?
Could you do this in a special dice?
Oh, you absolutely could.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Yeah. Any others? That's a great insight. I think there's going to be a lot of people. I just saw...
And you said that this game is over 10 years old, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. So, 2010.
And to some extent, also, and this is something what's on the cards, right, could also be.
It's not evocative.
Right. Could also be a bit more.
I don't think it's meant to be evocative.
I can see the simplicity. I'm going to probably a better name for the aesthetic, but like the bold, simplistic aesthetic.
Right.
That the whole thing, has, but again, if you're gonna have cards instead of dice,
I think what the cards themselves. Right, I'm with you. I understand. There's a game called Everway, and Everway uses like actual trading card game. Like it has its own cards with just art. But you could use art cards, you could use magic cards, you could use anything.
There's games that use both.
And it really tells a rich story because you're using those in very tarot-like ways. Right. We're going to have a very complex episode about tarot in gaming. But yeah, I'm with you. I get what you're saying. I know why they made it simple. I know why, but I think it was a little misstep because you could have brought forward the aesthetic of the station by having some art on these, right? Yeah. I think it would be very interesting to generate, right? Because no one's going to make Freemarket anymore, but to generate new cards for Freemarket, that give your players more of a sense of the feeling of your game, of their game, everybody's game, right? What looks like, what they're looking at, and they can pull stuff from there. I think I agree with you. I think that would be probably a lot more powerful in a game that's hard to pull stuff out of. right?
Yeah, I'm going to give you some idea. You got tech cards, right? And it just is a gray card that says technology on it.
Right.
You know, like,
Right.
that could have some cool stuff.
Right.
You know, the gene line and certainly the experience.
Which is really funny because what we're talking about is sort of the negative. Well, all right. So on one hand, it's a negative of like the Morkborg OSR sort of thing, which is just very, very loose, very minor subsystems, and all of the ingenuity and everything comes out of the play.
It's mostly based on like a target number and a die roll.
Right.
Much.
However, you could argue that with the Morkborg games, which are vibe, playing on vibe, that this would generate a vibe. But I think imagery would help carry the vibe.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But again, I think maybe it'd be more impactful now that you can make your own cards for this game. You know, I think maybe it'd be more impactful to make your own cards with your own aesthetic, right? That would help drive those narratives. Right?
Yeah.
I think that's cool. We didn't get to play with memories. I think the memory system on this is really very interesting.
Yeah, in terms of progression and stuff, anyways. Yeah.
I think that I think the way all of the pieces interact is very interesting. It's obviously very mechanized, but good groups. This is not, I think this game would drive good narrative, but I could see you playing this very dryly.
Right. Yeah.
You know, we have a 2, I do this, I have 4, I have 8, you know, and I'm hoping the book itself would get players.
Right.
You need someone to guide. You need someone creative to be able to drive the narrative, right?
With each
I
card
hope I made that interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're right.
You know, I hope I wasn't too heavy-handed. We're all very, you know, but in games like this, I tend
to stop with each card turn. Go through. Okay, what does this mean for?
Because you know, it would. I agree with you. If you didn't do that and just powered through, I don't know it'd be as satisfying as partial successes.
Yeah. I mean, it may as well be a die roll.
May as well just be that. What else did you like? Not like? What are you thinking?
Let's see if there's anything else that kind of came to my mind about it.
I like kind of the campy flavor of the technology. Like, again, you know, and I don't know if we drove this into it intentionally, but there were some examples that we took off of it, right? You know, think about the interfaces and the you know, cybernetics and the technology, but you know, that had a little bit of fun to it. You know,
I found tags really easy to use in this.
The the tags, you know, definitely give it.
Because tags are just narrative, right?
Yeah.
They're just, can you bring this in? Oh, that doesn't work, or it does work.
Yeah, but I mean, comparing to like other escape where it's like kind of all tags,
right?
I kind of like this better in terms of there being tags, but it's not like the only thing that you have to kind of grab onto, you know.
And you're not really worried about the scale problem.
Right.
Like, they're not representative of anything specific.
Right.
They're pretty vague, and they're really just there to be.
But also in this setting, it's also not like scale. I mean, scale of certain kinds, it's got to be a factor in terms of your flow, obviously, but like it's not so much a factor in terms of like, you know, I mean, it's not cyberpunk. You're not going to be trying to shoot each other, for instance, where it becomes like very like, you know, how fast am I? How whatever, you know, out by myself asking a lot, how fast was my character in the session, or how capable am I at doing X, kind of beyond it being sort of this loose.
I would love, as with a lot of games, I would love to run a dungeon crawl with this game.
That'd be interesting.
Because, I mean, that's totally doable. You guys have wet work, right? You have some social engineering. You have some printing. You'd be like, well, we need new equipment, or we want to find new equipment.
It would still change your relationship to the dungeon.
A horror. It could be the cube scenario.
Oh, the cube scenario.
You know what I mean? Like,
would it be like you make the dungeon, like you're one of the people who creates the dungeon for people to go through or something? Because I feel like it doesn't seem like it's too suited to like adventuring in that way, but it does seem very suited to like if you're part of the like sort of the structure.
I mean, if you really think about it, though, you know, like the game starts you in your container, right? And saying, okay, what do you do? That's fine, but I could totally start you in a death trap. Right? I could totally start you in some mercy has decided to create a Running Man-esque game and you need to use flow to get popular enough in your experiences, your G-line, and your tech to get the fuck out of Dodge.
Could be a broadcast arena too. It could be Squid Games,
right?
Squid Games to some extent you need.
We could say we're a Mercy that wants to be the best death arena.
This is where I probably feel frustrated about not having enough sort of things to hold on to in terms of the combat or in terms of that or.
But I think that would be interesting. I
was going to joke when we said that we had tags on our different items, and those tags were making it very descriptive. But I missed the fact that my Visi optic wasn't a +2. But then,
it's only a +1. Right.
But then we didn't get a chance to use those added marks.
Right.
Cool. Very interesting. Cool. It's an interesting game. I'm definitely happy to have the experience of playing it. This came out in the 2000s?
2010.
Okay.
2010. Yeah. 15 years old.
Yeah.
Great. Really fantastic stuff from Luke and Jared. Check it out if you get an opportunity to. I don't know how or when, but it's definitely like a bucket list game for me, and one of the reasons why I still own a physical copy, because I really want to see, I think there's so many interesting ways you could go with this. And I had some really interesting ideas. I think they're interesting where, I think it's drawn very campily, right? And there's some camp to it. And I think I was trying to lean into that camp a little bit. Mm-hmm. But I think
the weakness of Bernie's body. And,
I think there's some really powerful ways to go with this game. I really do. And I think I really love what you came up with is like, just think about that. This idea that there's one rule and it just bothers you that there's a rule, and why there's a rule, right? Like, that's so evocative. Be like,
a little bit arbitrary.
I want my mom to come back. Like, you're an adult man, but your father's leaning over you being like, she's not coming back anymore, boys.
Yeah.
And what happens when mom comes back and she's a badass? Like, you know what I mean?
It's almost like I was born into the Amish family.
Right. Rub spring up.
What makes that I can't leave the farm and then come back?
It was also a thought coming off of being second generation, where it's
exactly.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot more to this game that, it is a lot of your own stuff, but I don't think it ever gets to Elysium, the movie.
Right.
It doesn't ever really get to Elysium. It doesn't
have that darkness for sure.
But it's not that dark, right? It's like.
Although I was just thinking, what it could work really well for is it could be, if you wanted like a dystopian version of Freemarket, is Silo.
The
show Silo, because it's still very much about who you know and your flow basically, and everything else maybe just be a little tweak.
Everybody's fed. Right. Everybody has a place to live.
Right, exactly. So it would really work for that sort of thing. It's more dungeon crawling. I have a hard time wrapping my head around, but something like Silo, I could definitely see. Yeah.
But there's so many interesting places you could go, and the examples are like, I'm going to go to so-and-so's party. I'm going to give him a pumpkin, which is great. But it's like, they're really, especially the memory stuff. I remember there was a superhero game a buddy of mine ran, right? And I played this guy who was a tank, like a crazy tank. He was trying to gain influence with this gang of flyers. Right. And so they were had this crow motif, and he climbed to the top of the building that they hung out with, because they only hung out. And this was like a Gotham-esque setting. And they were on this precarious place, and he's like, I want to join your gang. And they laughed at him. He's like, but you can't fly. And he grabs one of them and jumps off the fucking building. And then at the last minute, lets go of one of the guy he grabs, and then just splats and then climbs back to the top, and they're like, all right, you're in. And it's like, that's what the kind of stuff that you're you can really crank that narrative up. The sky's the limit. Literally, Saturn is the limit, you know? And never mind the idea that this is a relay station for the backups for the rest of the fucking solar system.
Yeah.
you know? And it's like, it's so easy to be like, I grow a pumpkin. That's not meant to make fun of the examples here. But it's like, it's so easy to go there. And you have to, in the beginning, do this tiny stuff.
Right.
But it's like, there's so much.
Yeah, I don't have the patience for farming.
But our characters wanting to go out and be farmers for some reason. But
Yeah.
There is a lot of examples in here. I did not use any of them. Like, I think a GM or even players who are a super user, I'm sorry, who didn't feel they had a grasp on things could use a lot of this, like, gain ideas from the people and Mercy's and the tech and the interfaces that are in here and the gene lines, and could really map things out that way.
That makes sense.
You know, I was comfortable in the world, you know, but I could see somebody who might want to stat things out a little bit. Maybe not make adventures per se, maybe for their players, but just have NPCs ready and have Mercies ready and things like that for what their players. You could totally, like, run this game in a more traditional GM heavy fashion, right? I think it's designed for players to be proactive. I think it's designed to say, you have a Mercy, this is what you're going to do. By your memories, you're giving me kickers for scenes. Cool. Well, awesome. That was Freemarket. Thanks, guys.
You have been listening to another episode of the Modern Mythology Podcast. We hope we gave you something new to think about that you can bring to your RPGs, writing, and other character-based games and art forms. Produced by James Kershaw. Soundtrack by Scott Landis and James Kershaw. For more information about this episode, articles, or links to our other related projects, visit modernmythology.net.